Hello, welcome. In this video, we explain why America invaded Grenada. Sir Eric Gary had led Grenada to independence from the United Kingdom in 1974. But his term in office coincided with civil strife in Grenada. He was head of the Grenada United Labour Party and claimed victory in the general election of 1976. But the opposition did not accept the result as legitimate. The civil strife took the form of street violence between Gary's private army, the Mongoose Gang, and gangs organized by the New Dual Movement, NJM. Maurice Bishop led the NJM in an armed revolution and overthrew the government on the 13th of March 1979, while Gary was out of the country. Establishing the People's Revolutionary Government, the Bishop government began constructing the Point Salines International Airport with the help of Britain, Cuba, Libya, Algeria, and other nations. The British government proposed the airport in 1954 when Grenada was still a British colony. Canadians designed it, the British government underwrote it, and a London firm built it. The American government accused Grenada of constructing facilities to aid a Soviet-Cuban military buildup in the Caribbean based on the 9,000-foot, 2,700 meters, runway which could accommodate the largest Soviet aircraft, such as the In-12, An-22, and the In-124. Such a facility would enhance the Soviet and Cuban transportation of weapons to Central American insurgents and expand Soviet regional influence. Bishop's government claimed that the airport was built to accommodate commercial aircraft carrying tourists, pointing out that such jets could not land at Pearl's Airport on the island's north end, 5,200 feet. And that Pearl's could not be expanded because its runway abutted a mountain at one end and the ocean at the other. In 1983, Representative Ron Dellums, D. California, traveled to Grenada on a fact-finding mission, having been invited by the country's prime minister. He described his findings before Congress, based on my personal observations, discussion, and analysis of the new international airport under construction in Grenada. It is my conclusion that this project is specifically now and has always been for the purpose of economic development and is not for military use. It is my thought that it is absurd, patronizing, and totally unwarranted for the United States government to charge that this airport poses a military threat to the United States national security. In March 1983, President Reagan began issuing warnings about the threat posed to the United States and the Caribbean by the Soviet-Cuban militarization of the Caribbean. Evident from the excessively long airplane runway being built and intelligence indicating increased Soviet interest in the island. He said that the runway and the numerous fuel storage tanks were unnecessary for commercial flights, and that evidence indicated that the airport was to become a Cuban-Soviet forward military airbase. On the 16th of October 1983, Deputy Prime Minister Bernard Court seized power and placed Bishop under house arrest. Mass protests against the coup led to Bishop escaping detention and reasserting his authority as the head of the government. He was eventually captured and murdered by a firing squad of soldiers, along with his partner and several government officials and union leaders loyal to him. The army under Hudson Austin then stepped in and formed a military council to rule the country, placing Governor General Paul Scoon under house arrest. The army announced a 4-day total curfew during which anyone seen on the streets would be summarily executed. The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, Barbados, and Jamaica all appealed to the United States for assistance. 3. Scoon had requested the invasion through secret diplomatic channels, but it was not made public for his safety. He was well within his rights to take this action under the reserve powers vested in the Crown. 25. On Saturday the 22nd of October 1983. The Deputy High Commissioner in Bridgetown, Barbados visited Grenada and reported that Scoon was well and did not request military intervention, either directly or indirectly. But in his 2003 autobiography, Survival for Service, Scoon maintains he asked the visiting British diplomat to pass along an oral request for outside military intervention at this meeting. On the 25th of October, the combined forces of the United States and the Regional Security System, RSS, based in Barbados invaded Grenada in an operation codenamed Operation Urgent Fury. America stated that this was done at the request of Barbados Prime Minister Tom Adams and Dominica's Prime Minister Eugenia Charles. The invasion was highly criticized by the governments in Canada, Trinidad and Tobago, and the United Kingdom. The United Nations General Assembly condemned it as a flagrant violation of international law by a vote of 108 to 9, with 27 abstentions.